When you look at Southwest Asia and North Africa, you see this region just buzzing with these powerful currents. And to really understand it, you have to look past the day-to-day headlines and see the four key forces that have been shaping it for thousands of years. The constant movement of people, the sheer power of the land itself, the incredible wealth buried underground, and of course, the unstoppable drive of human will.
So, to really get a handle on this part of the world, you've got to ask yourself one big question. If you could strip away all the modern borders and the politics, what's the one single thread that runs through its entire history? What is that one force that has defined this region more than anything else?
The answer? It's movement, migration. The flow of people is kind of like the baseline rhythm of this entire region. It's a story that's told in ancient caravan trails and in the flight paths of modern jumbo jets. It is the one constant that connects the deep past to the right now.
Okay, but here's the thing. Not all movement is created equal. We can actually break it down into three really distinct journeys, and each one is driven by a completely different reason. Getting these is the key to understanding the whole region.
So first up, you've got the Bedouin. These are the nomadic, Arabic-speaking peoples of the deserts, in places like Saudi Arabia and Jordan. For them, moving isn't just a choice, it's everything. It's about sheer survival. Their whole lives are dictated by the seasons, by that constant search for water and for land where their camels, sheep, and goats can graze. Next, we have the Tuareg, the legendary traders of the Sahara. For generations, these guys have been the absolute masters of this huge, arid landscape. Their movement is all about commerce. They form these small caravans, literally navigating by the stars to trade essential goods like salt for dates. It's a journey that's as much a tradition as it is a business.
And that brings us to the most modern type of migration, the guest worker. We're talking about millions of people drawn to resource-rich nations like the UAE and Saudi Arabia. Their motivation is purely economic. They're searching for wages in the oil and construction industries that are just impossible to find back home.
And when you put them side by side like this, whoa, you really see this fundamental shift. Traditional migration was about survival and trade, heading for an oasis or a market. But modern migration, it's driven by labor shortages and pure economic opportunity, pulling people towards these hyper-modern, gleaming cities. The why people are moving has completely flipped.
All right, let's switch gears to our next force, geography. And honestly, there is no better example of a place that is physically and culturally defined by its location than Istanbul. This city literally stands at the crossroads of the world.
The city's power, its whole identity, comes from the Bosporus Strait. It just carves right through the heart of the city, separating Europe from Asia. And get this, it's the only way for ships from Black Sea countries to reach the world's oceans. For centuries, controlling this strait meant you controlled a massive flow of money, trade, and culture. That, right there, is the secret to Istanbul's magic. But here's the flip side. That exact same geography, it poses a terrifying danger. Istanbul sits directly on top of the North Anatolian Fault, which is one of the most active on the entire planet. For the scientists who study this, the question isn't if a massive earthquake will hit, but when. And many of them are predicting it could happen before 2030. So what do? How does a massive city like this get ready for something that's basically inevitable? Well, officials are in a race against time. They're reinforcing major infrastructure, they're bringing in way stricter building codes, and, this is amazing, they're building these huge earthquake-safe tunnels deep under the Bosporus to keep the city moving, even if a disaster strikes. Okay, on to our third major force, resources. And for this, we're going to look at the small nation of Qatar, a country whose entire destiny was completely rewritten by what they found under their sand and sea. So thanks to having the third largest natural gas reserves in the world, Qatar has become one of the wealthiest nations per person on Earth. But all that wealth, it's created this really fascinating demographic picture. So who actually lives there? Just take a look at this. It is absolutely staggering. Qatari nationals, actual citizens, make up only 15% of the population in their own country. The vast majority, 85%, are non-Qatari. And the largest groups are from India and Nepal. This is the direct result of that modern migration we were just talking about, guest workers fueling this nation's incredible rapid growth.
And Qatar has used that gas wealth to punch way, way above its weight on the world stage. They built Education City, a hub for top international universities. They started the global news network Al Jazeera. They hosted the 2022 World Cup. And now they play this huge role as a mediator in international conflicts.
And that brings us to our last force, and you could argue it's the most powerful of all. Pure human will. It's the idea that one person's sheer determination can defy everything, geography, politics, circumstance, to reshape the future. And for this, we turn to the story of one incredible woman.
This is Shabana Basij Rasik, and her words, man, they just perfectly capture her entire life's mission. When she was just a child, she saw the Taliban outlaw education for girls. But she believed then, and she still believes now, that the entire future of her country depends on the very thing that was forbidden.
I mean, her journey is just one of incredible, breathtaking courage. In 1996, as a kid, she literally risked her life just to attend secret schools. Then in 2008, she co-founded SOLA, which became Afghanistan's only all-girls boarding school. And then, when the Taliban returned in 2021, she did the unthinkable. She evacuated her entire school, 256 people, to Rwanda, where they are continuing their studies today.
To really get the scale of the mountain she's climbing, just think about this number. Only 6% of all Afghan women have a college degree. 6%, that's it. That's the reality her students are fighting to change every single day.
And, as she puts it, this is so much bigger than just one school. Her vision is to create a model that can be used for displaced kids all over the world. She sees her students as the people who will one day rebuild Afghanistan. So this isn't just about education. In her words, it's a movement.
So there you have it. We've seen these four massive forces at play. Let's pull it all together and think about what it means for the region's next chapter.
The thing is, none of these forces exist in a vacuum, right? They're constantly crashing into each other, mixing and creating something new. The journey of a Bedouin herder and a guest worker in Dubai are two sides of the same coin, movement. Istanbul's geography gives it incredible power, but at the cost of sitting on a dangerous fault line. Qatar's resources fuel its global ambition, and Shabana's individual will, well, that's a force pushing back against history itself. And all of this leaves us with one big question to chew on. As these timeless forces keep intersecting with our modern world, what story are they going to write next? What do you think will define the future for this incredibly dynamic and vital part of our world?